I hear things like Bayesian updating, or like
Yep.
becoming a Bayesian agent, or mental models, the mental modeling view of the world and how we perceive our mental model rather than we actually perceive what's going on in reality.
Sure, sure.
Where, how much cohesion is there here? Does it sort of move away from the rationalist movement? Is the rationalist movement some of the things that you have come upon under different names?
Sure. Yep. So, I mean, there's one level at which the version of the Bayesian stuff that I'm interested in is called predictive processing models. And I'm actually working with two other people right now, Mark Miller and Brett Anderson, to try and integrate relevance realization theory with predictive processing, because we think they need each other. And so at the scientific level, that's work that's going on right now, and I hope it will be done this year and hopefully published this year. And I think this could be maybe the last sort of big thing I do in my career. I mean, my academic career, because I'm getting old. But at the level at which it's taken into popular culture, I mean, you can't be Bayesian. So if you were to try to be Bayesian, and Gilbert Harman made this point a long time ago in the 80s in a book called Change in View. If you tried to be Bayesian, right, that's computationally intractable. You'd be combinatorially explosive. You can't do it. Okay? So what we see organisms doing is they're Bayesian with respect to what they find salient or relevant, which then just brings back the question about, okay, how do you do that? That's why you can really piss off a person from the predictive processing model. You ask them, but which model? What do you choose to model? And then they'll do a circular thing, that which turns out to be most adaptive, which is a teleological explanation. He says, yeah, but how do I build a machine that will do that? Right? I get that that's how it works, but how do I build a machine that would do that? How do I update the model? How do I bring insight into the model? How do I compare models of different scale? Right? And so there's all of that. And I suppose that points to the deeper issue, which is we have too overly simplistic a model of rationality, to my mind, because we have these different ways of knowing, and we have over limited the model of rationality to the logical, right, implication relations between propositions. We've limited rationality to inference management. Now, that's an important part of rationality, because changing your beliefs changes your behavior. But that is only a small sliver of what makes you a cognitive agent. Your procedural knowledge, your knowing how to do things, your skills, that's a big part. And there's ways in which you can be rational or irrational in that, because you can transfer a skill inappropriately, right? And we catch people doing that all the time. And it's like, no, that's not the right skill here, right? You can be perspectively, right, irrational. You can be totally logical with a completely fixated egocentrism. And if you don't know how to transform your perspectival knowing, you're going to suffer from a kind of self-deceptive behavior. Same thing with the participatory knowing. If you're not paying attention to the relationship between the agent-arena relationship, that can spiral downward into addiction, right? So we have to see that for all the kinds of knowing, there are perennial and profound patterns of self-deceptive, self-destructive behavior. And so rationality is any kind of systematic and reliable and systemic set of practices for ameliorating our self-deceptive behavior. So it's not just the logical education of our inference machinery. It's also the education of our procedural abilities, our perspectival ability. So, for example, under my definition, mindfulness is a form of rationality, because mindfulness has to do with training attention, so you get better skills. That's procedural. So your perspectival knowing is more optimally and reliably functioning. And so we have many rationalities, and then we have sort of a meta-rationality of coordinating them together so that they optimally function together. So we have sort of a self-transcending rationality of rationalities. That's what I think wisdom is.